Subscribe to Simply Bitcoin.
Big Sean Harris to everything right now. So
It's like you're in a little room.
yeah. All rooms are little.
Hey. Welcome, everybody. Welcome in. You made it to another episode of the Meme Factory podcast. This is stream test number 161. And today our guest is Cedric Youngelman. Say hi, Cedric.
Hey, what's up? Nice to be here.
Also joined by Sean Harris, Yellow, Rope, and RDBTC. Take turns saying hi, fellas. Everybody likes to hear from you.
Hi, fellas.
Hi, fellas.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Shout out to Vake already with the super chat. Appreciate that, Vake.
Thank you, Vic. Been a while
What's
since
up,
we've seen
Vic?
you. All right. And whatever you do, don't offer Yellow any chocolate milk. He's had enough for the day.
Stop saying that.
That's all right. I don't think I only need to say it the one time. I mean,
I don't drink chocolate milk, goddammit. Those rumors you started spreading for some reason.
you say rumors, I say evidence.
No, I drink Red Bull.
I mean, we know you drink the Red Bull. It's just you seem to have the actual problem with the chocolate milk. Is what we're getting after here.
Don't drink. Stop saying that, goddammit. We have a guest now. Okay, come on, focus.
Yellow,
Fair enough,
Yellow.
fair enough.
The first step is denial. That is the first stage.
Yeah, the final step is gonna be your face and my hand over your face, smacking it.
What?
How about that?
Oh man. All right, save us here. We need to get paid. I've sent you the ad copy for the week. Can you run into your DMs and read that sucker out so we can get some money here?
Oh, there was more. Here we go. All right. This episode is brought to you by Suscorp. Hey. A revolutionary way to gain exposure to the hay markets without ever touching a bale. Through our proprietary BPS, bales per share model, you stay humble, stack hay, and let us handle the dirty work of actual agriculture the same way Enron handled the dirty work of actual electric generation. We manage the bales, or the hails. You hold the paper, number go up. Worried about storage? Our neighbor's barn is well insured. Want to redeem your hay? We'll give you the dollar equivalent. Eventually, regulation. There's a framework. And remember, there is no second best crop. Hey, trademarked. Because you didn't come here to farm. You came here to exit, and with our product, you become the exit.
I can't wait to get me some hey.
Ooh, nice.
Thanks.
That was great.
That was fun.
So you may have gotten that reference. So BPS these days, we're talking about Bitcoin per share in some companies that went public recently, and some other companies that are kind of doing the same thing. I didn't ask you anything about this before you came on, but do you have a stance on accumulating Bitcoin versus accumulating IOU Bitcoin?
Oh my God, it's not even like a question. I just get real Bitcoin. You don't even start with the IOU stuff. I mean, for me, that place has it's really for people who can't buy spot Bitcoin and or have money trapped in the system, like in a vehicle where they can't just self-custody real Bitcoin. So, and I think that's a great way to maybe get some alpha during short periods against Bitcoin. Maybe it beats the hurdle rate in short-term periods, certain stocks and equities, and especially with euphoria and sort of irrational emotional behavior. But I think in 2025, I've really soured on the Bitcoin treasury company play for personal, wealth accumulation. I think it's gotten a bit overrated, and I think this is the kind of forum to talk about it because you guys are a little bit more renegade. I think it's just kind of gotten a little bit more, becoming more about trading and fiat, and I don't think those things are going to do well long term against Bitcoin. And they come with different risks.
I always like to Cedric. That's like the logical argument of a logical Bitcoiner. Like that's how it started, though, right? Like we had MicroStrategy, and the argument was Like if you have some kind of funds locked up somewhere that you cannot use otherwise, and you can have exposure to Bitcoin by buying MicroStrategy, yeah, fine. That's logical. Get some MicroStrategy and then you have some exposure to Bitcoin. But now, like, all the balances are off. Like, everyone is like talking first about the MicroStrategy in 21 and all those companies, and second about Bitcoin. Like, the script has flipped, and I'm really against that. Like,
Yeah.
we're losing the point here.
Yeah, for sure. I really do think so. And you have to look at sort of how these companies are acquiring Bitcoin and why. So I think what is exciting is people and entities that are in a position to save, have positive cash flow, and have reserves, and are turning and have lucrative businesses, and are saying, "Hey, why don't we just put some of our reserves or all of our reserves in Bitcoin?" I think you cross a line when you have companies who have no purpose anymore or aren't doing well, don't have positive cash flow, and are becoming sort of Bitcoin plays. And that's really just more of I think, a trend thing. It's like marketing, it's buzz. And so I think just watching companies that, acquire Bitcoin for the sake of acquiring Bitcoin is less exciting to me. And yeah, I agree with Yellow.
And to all those out there that are saying there is no point to this discussion, it's part of the adoption and deal with it. Like, a part of the adoption is going to be the probable crash of some of those companies. We have seen it in the past. So if I can
Probable
say
what?
crash,
Probable what?
Talking about
Crass?
crash. And if I can
Crass.
save even like one pleb from doing that, experiencing that crash, like it's a plus.
What?
Shut up.
what he's talking about.
Well, I think you also have to think about where you are as a shareholder. So if these companies are using debt to acquire Bitcoin and/or issuing shares, and Bitcoin is very volatile, but you are behind the debt holders of the company. You're behind the bond and the debt holders of the company. So if things go wrong or south with the company, you get no anything, much less Bitcoin. So I think I think people have to be really careful there, just about what they're trying to do here. I think it's great. Again, the financialization of Bitcoin eating Wall Street, people using using Bitcoin as a base layer to revolutionize or invigorate these types of assets and derivatives and securities. Because I don't think they in themselves are bad. Securities, equities, debt have a place in our economy. Maybe a different place without fractional reserve banking. But be careful what you're trying to do and what your goals are. And Bitcoin through Bitcoin treasury companies doesn't give you any of the qualities of real Bitcoin. So you don't have FU money. You don't have seat at the table. You have a much harder time going through volatility if it's not your Bitcoin. Also, why do you want someone to buy and babysit your Bitcoin for you? Like, why do you need a babysitter of your Bitcoin? And why would you want anyone like FTX or Luna to be able to issue their own money to acquire Bitcoin on your behalf? It's very similar to fiat. So, I think it has its place for maybe if pension companies were truly looking to get access to Bitcoin and they can't buy spot Bitcoin. But it's really not. A lot of the buyers of the debt are just arbitrage traders and market makers and short sellers to hedge their long positions. So it's not truly the debt market's trying to get a piece of Bitcoin price exposure. They're using these things as tools. And just keep in mind that you're last in line as an equity holder or a shareholder of these companies and their Bitcoin they supposedly hold. And just keep in mind, whether they're doing proof of reserves or not, or some sort of audit or not, auditors have been beaten before. You can move assets around. You could still double count assets. Are you counting everything on the chain at the exact same block, right? So are more than one company pointing to a particular lot of Bitcoin, whether they have proof of reserves or not? I mean, with multi-sig, more than one institution could show proof of reserves. and all this leads to a depreciation of your own spot Bitcoin held in custody. Bitcoin on exchanges adds liquidity to the marketplace, helps people buy in and out, move in and out, suppress probably price appreciation. And what I think it also does, all this speculation on Bitcoin is going to add convexity in the future. So we're going to have a tremendous amount of leverage in the system. and there'll be more volatility in the future. And what I'm really nervous about are Bitcoiners who have, let's say we go run up to $1 million a coin, and Bitcoiners all run to borrow against their coin. And Bitcoin crashes to 400,000 or 300, whatever it is. And those Bitcoiners get their Bitcoin swept to the institutions because they're over levered. So there's just, I think there's a lot of cautionary tales that are going to happen in 2026 with this stuff.
Well, it seems like I was gonna say, it seems like we keep reliving the same cautionary tales. So, like for me, the trigger word when I see these new companies with Bitcoin strategies, right? They're all talking about like yield. Yeah, exactly. Sean knew exactly where I was going with that.
The yield, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, Bitcoin doesn't make a yield on its own, right? So where's that yield coming from? And they'll use clever wording like actively managing their portfolio, and it's risk disguised as, here, we're making you more Bitcoin. It's free extra Bitcoin. Just leave it with us. No, you're gonna get wrecked. Somebody's gonna get wrecked.
Position.
Trading around a core position.
That didn't work out well.
It didn't. No, and we give him shit for it. Referencing Greg Foss here.
The main thing to remember is the people are retarded.
Well, there's been a lot of success stories with, say, let's take MicroStrategy. A lot of people in 2021 to 2024 maybe had a few dollars locked up in a 401k or Roth and turned 1,000 or 10,000. And say someone had 10,000 in there and it's easily worth 100,000 now. Let's say someone had 50,000 and it's worth 500,000. I mean, that's retiring or helping people retire or stabilize their lives. And so it's been the Bitcoin treasury company story has been a tremendous success story from a fiat standpoint, and it's sort of created a lot of emotional or sort of commitment or investment in these things. It doesn't guarantee the rate of return going forward. And you look at different things like MicroStrategy has doubled the Bitcoin in the last year, and the price is the same with the share. So people say, you have more Bitcoin per share. But even in fiat terms, if your share price hasn't gone up and has twice the Bitcoin, and then you have to, everyone says there's a future end game or end state to MicroStrategy. One day they'll have X amount of Bitcoin and they can do different things. Like, how much Bitcoin do they need to have to do different things, right? Or to become a Bitcoin bank, or like.
I think he wants to be the next Goldman Sachs. That's what I think.
Sure, the richest man in the world, and all that's great. Like, to see the competition, to see rules without rulers and how this plays out and the different people involved and the ideas, and some things are going to be really, genius, and whether it's MicroStrategy or other companies take those things on, and some things are not going to be genius, they're going to fail, and some companies are going to blow up. So I just really urge people to really kind of think through positioning. Maybe you've done really well on a Bitcoin treasury company, and that's great, but maybe it's time then to pull out and it's not financial advice to anybody, but like maybe convert that to real Bitcoin, right?
Pulling out is usually a good financial advice.
Pulling out.
And also have in mind that like that 10x you said about Cedric was in a time where the market was completely different. MicroStrategy, a big pump of that 10x, MicroStrategy did it without even the ETFs, not even like other companies like it, right? Now it's like completely different. Now we're starting to see a lot of companies like MicroStrategy doing the same play. So we have a over correlation on companies like that, and like we are over 100K. Like, it's not the same.
True.
This conversation sounds very relevant to me. It feels like.
Tell us why, Rusty.
It's exactly what happened to me. It's like I put just a small amount of my superannuation into MicroStrategy because I promised my wife I wouldn't put everything in Bitcoin, and then that like very small amount suddenly turned into a very large amount, and then it's like, okay, great. But then the greed kind of takes over. It's like, do I just keep it? Do I keep going? Is this the thing that's gonna like just keep going and make me super rich in retirement? Or when do I turn it into Bitcoin? Like, do I turn it into Bitcoin now, or do I yeah, it's like that point, and then you see it go up, and you're like, oh crap, I've made the wrong decision. It's like now it almost feels like you're trapped once you've made these profits, and it's just like another form of like a greed or leverage
Speculation,
play.
rent
Yeah,
seeking.
yeah, it's like
You're basically
it's
saying
like
like, hey, I know about this before other people, so I can get in early. It's yeah, it's very. I didn't mean to cut you off though.
To be fair
Yeah,
no,
but
though,
no,
even
no.
like in
this
your success, Rusty, you can see it. Like this whole fucking game, it puts you like in a trading fiat kind of like mindset. It's not like
Yeah,
buying something, forget
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Well, it's the
That's what I'm
exit
talking.
strategy.
It definitely does. It like makes you, instead of stacking sats and staying humble, you're thinking like, oh, is it the top? Do I sell now? Do I, it's like you're constantly thinking about the trade, about yeah, and it's kind of like an excuse to leverage. And like we all know to stack sats and stay humble and don't put all your money in just another $1,000 in BitMEX and 100 exit, but. Oh, but you can get away with putting a little bit of money into MicroStrategy because that's not leveraging in BitMEX. It's like it's just like cheating.
Well, we saw this with GBTC. I mean, a lot of us were in these products early again because we had money trapped in the system, and/or we had spouses who said, "Hey, I don't want to be 100% in Bitcoin." And for some reason, things like GBTC and MicroStrategy, while being very directly exposed to Bitcoin, seem to, as stocks, make spouses feel more comfortable. They couldn't lose the keys. It could be at Fidelity. But even with GBTC, we saw that go from having a really big premium to a really big discount. And a lot of that could be because sentiment changes or the way these products are engineered or just the counterparty trades or who the insiders are and how they structure these vehicles. So, again, yeah, past returns are not really guaranteed of future returns. But I can see a lot of people are emotionally invested in these things. And because of the euphoria, I feel like these are the shit coins of this cycle, right? It's a way to sort of get alpha on Bitcoin. It's a little bit more nihilistic. The unit price bias is lower. So, you're like, oh, I can get a share for 400 or this one's for $4 or so different things like that. And yeah, I really, and I think for like, let's say people who have real Bitcoin and then had some small amount of money in here and whether it was because it was trapped or made a spouse happy, and then that became a much larger position than they ever envisioned. Well, now you're like, well, I am really overexposed here in a fiat way. And the way I kind of explain that to some people is like, let's say Bitcoin were to crash now to like 50K or 20K. Like I'd be fine with Bitcoin crashing in a lot of ways. That's
Please,
just my
God,
long-term
please.
hold. But I don't want to sit through or wouldn't have the tolerance or patience for my securities to crash like that, right? I don't, and or even 200, 2x of that, right? Because maybe they have more volatility. So riding something up is maybe like you could be grateful, maybe you lucked into it, maybe you were stuck there, but like riding something not Bitcoin down is a very different thing to me at least, and so just think about that. Like you have maybe risk comes with reward, right? So you're like, oh, getting greedy. What if this thing 10x's and Bitcoin only 5x's? Well, what if Bitcoin goes down 50%, this thing goes down 80%? Are you gonna, like I'd be fine with the Bitcoin going down. Would you be fine with your other stuff going down 80%? So, just there's convexity and both sides of the coin here.
So
Um,
you touched on an argument that Colin makes quite a bit, Dave Colin, talking about he thinks stocks are overvalued. He thinks they're due for a crash by like 80-90%. He thinks we're going to be in at some point in a Great Depression type situation because of that downfall. Sometime in the next 10 years, I imagine, is what his time horizon looks like. How much has that colored your opinion on stocks these days?
I mean, I think they are like I agree with Colin, but like I'm not investing or I don't see any point in value investing in stocks. So like I don't even look at that. And so then I say things like Bitcoin treasury companies probably wouldn't be affected in the same way as that rest of that market. But that doesn't mean that they're not, it's not MicroStrategy versus Bitcoin though. That's not the conversation I'm having here. But I also see like what Colin is saying is kind of the opposite side of the coin of what Lepard is saying. So I don't think we get the big print without a lot of pain. So I think the expression maximum pain to 1 million for Bitcoin is true. Like we're not going to get this smooth Weimar Republic, like blast off where like we just melt up and it's fun.
Well, the Weimar.
So-
have you ever looked at the Weimar chart?
No, but what I
that
mean
thing's
by
a
that-
whipsaw.
right, it just goes straight up. But I'm saying there's gonna be pain on that straight up.
It doesn't go
not-
straight
it's-
up.
But yeah, it doesn't. It goes straight up, then straight down, then straight up, then straight down, then straight up.
So that's my point. Like it's gonna do that, and there's gonna be a lot of pain at each one of those booms
Mm-hmm.
and busts. And so how long is that pain? Is it like March 20th where we go through 28 days of pain or 2 weeks of pain and we just hockey stick right back? Or is it like 3 years like Colin thinks? And like, but either way, I think the pain has to be enough for them to say, for the people to say, yeah, I'll pay $20 for eggs. Just print. Just give me money to pay rent. Like, yeah, I'll pay $50 a gallon for gas. Like, I don't fucking care. Like, just print. Like, they're not gonna pay $20 like a dozen of eggs, like on the fun way up. So there's got to be booms and busts, and there's gonna be so much pain, and people are gonna beg for the printing. And the printing is gonna come with so many negative strings. It's not just gonna come with like assets booming. It's gonna come with like CBDCs, right? It's gonna be like, yeah, I'll take your CBDC and $20 dozen eggs because we need the money. We all need the money, and UBI and free money. So I think that's like where Calm's pointing at something, right? Like there's got to be a bust, there's got to be a crack, there's got to be massive pain. And how long is that pain? Is it 3 weeks again, or is it like 3 years? And I think that's sort of what Calm's getting at.
I just think we're so divorced from the reality of money that I don't.
It's possible, and that's why like I don't bet on what Column's saying, and like I don't. That's why you have to stick with like your life raft, right? Like no matter what happens, there's probably nothing better to be in than Bitcoin, right? Maybe having a cash reserve for short term to pay your bills or something, maybe some guns and ammo and food, would be in reality the physical world. But like, what would you feel more comfortable in? Like, I was talking to American Hodl, like he's not, I don't want to speak for him. Said there are Bitcoiners who are tired, right? This has been a long journey. And you'd think at 100K, people wouldn't be tired. People would be like, fuck yeah, right? But maybe at 100K, we're not even at a real all-time high with the amount of printing that's happened. Like, that's why I think that, like, this is not a euphoric 100K, because it's...
Cedric, if you could hold on a minute, we interrupt anybody when Rusty puts his hand up.
Yeah, no worries.
He's got a question, so... Go ahead, Rusty.
Yeah, I just suddenly realized, am I in Australia at an advantage because I'm not allowed to stack guns and ammo, so I can stack more Bitcoin?
Sir, didn't your government just tell you that they were going to tax your unrealized gains in that superannuation fund?
Yeah. Over $3 million, but I don't think they've got it in yet. I can't get a confirmed answer how close we are to that.
Okay.
But I've already found the strategy, and that's you lose your Bitcoin, and then you pay maybe like a little like fee or something, and then you find it again when you retire. Yeah. Yeah. It's a
What could
loophole.
possibly go wrong? Yeah, what could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go?
If we could possibly just censor this bit of the podcast, just maybe cut that out.
Dude, I got one for you. You buy these Bitcoin treasury companies or any ETF, and I mean, what if like Brian Armstrong has a handshake deal with the United States government to give them the Bitcoin? And so a year from now, our biggest enemy, North Korea, hacks all the Bitcoin at Coinbase. The North Koreans got 1.5 million Bitcoin. Holy shit. Like our biggest enemies. And they sold 500,000 of it to China. And now at some stupid low price. And now for food, for wheat. And now like our biggest enemies, Russia, China, North Korea, all have so much Bitcoin. And then another 6 months go by and, the whole campaign is, everyone should get rid of their Bitcoin. No one should have Bitcoin. It's our enemies have Bitcoin. Our government needs more Bitcoin. It's a strategic reserve asset. And I don't know, like 6 months after that, like the United States government just happens to recover all the Bitcoin, nicely, sweetly. And like, it just all ends up back in our hands. But now the US government has it. And all those Bitcoin treasury companies that had their Bitcoin at Coinbase don't have Bitcoin. And even then, like maybe the United States government gives you some fiat, maybe to backstop that those shares that lost their Bitcoin. And then also someone was like, I was a tweet on or a post on X, like, we get into a situation where all these companies lose, let's say they lose their Bitcoin, gets hacked, and some sort of the United States government, some sort of backstops Bitcoin somehow. Like, not literally like, giving out real Bitcoin, but like prints money and hands out the fiat equivalent and everything like that. Like, that would really damage, I shouldn't say damage anything to do with Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't care, but like, think about the ethos of Bitcoin.
Wait, just roll this back a minute. Help me figure out how a government would backstop Bitcoin. I'm not understanding this.
So this is something like I'm trying to get across is like they backstop it with dollars. So you lose your shares at MicroStrategy or any company.
Oh, so
FDIC,
FDIC for the
and
Bitcoin.
Say, okay, like your
treasury
company
companies.
that you were investing at was worth $100 a share, and they don't have the Bitcoin anymore. And that's a shame. We're going to come in and give you your $100 a share, right? We're going to make it up to you because the North Koreans stole your Bitcoin treasury. We're going to print a shit ton of money to do that, and there you go. And then the United States government picks up that Bitcoin, recovers it from the hackers a year later. I'm just thinking through different sort of threat vectors. It doesn't, again, none of this changes if you have your own Bitcoin in self-custody, right? None of this affects you in that way other than price exposure. And if you're using it for savings, then you're just, and hopefully you don't have because savings can get tapped into as well, right? You could have a medical emergency, a family emergency, a wedding, things that you don't always get to hold on to. Everyone doesn't always hold on to 100% of their savings. But if you're using it, then you can kind of manage that as savings. You can manage it through volatility. And I think of like, there's 3 ways to use Bitcoin in terms of like how, it's like you 5 or 10% of your worth is like you're saving in Bitcoin. Like 11 to 50% in Bitcoin, you're now investing in Bitcoin, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. And then like 51% above is like you're speculating on Bitcoin. You're trying to retire in 18 months, right? And there's nothing wrong with speculating on things either. But there's just, that excludes people that are living on, say, a Bitcoin standard where they get paid in Bitcoin and they manage to disperse all their expenses in Bitcoin. I don't think there's a lot of people truly like that. So, there's different ways to kind of look at your holdings in Bitcoin. If you're 100% Bitcoin, you're going to have a harder time probably dealing with volatility. You might have to sell when you don't want to. There might not be as much liquidity when you're forced to sell, right? And so how you manage your threat vectors personally, and then how you think about how, Luke Dasher thinks that Bitcoin is at best a 10% chance of succeeding here, right?
What?
It's sort of on,
at this point.
Well, what is success, right? Like, are we just sort of, put into a corner and we all get rich and our Bitcoin goes up in value, but no one's using it as, real uncensorable money, unseizable money, money that could be used peer to peer with no third party? Or has everyone just got their, big shares in Bitcoin ETFs and shares in Bitcoin treasury companies, right? And very few people self-custody, very few people transact.
I think Luke needs to lower his time preference.
But like
Cedric, I got a question for you.
Maybe he's saying the quiet parts out loud though.
Why do you think that these Bitcoin treasury companies basically have refused to do proof of reserves? Like, what is there a threat vector?
It's not.
Especially like if you see like that their NAV starts to get a discount, right? Like, they have a premium and then they start to get a discount. You would imagine that they'd be like, well, here's all of our Bitcoin. We can show you that we got it. So we should at least be, this.
I think the NAV and the P is all a misnomer because just of certain issues that have to get clarified. And how much, again, I think we have to really be careful. Like, I don't think MicroStrategy or these companies are, MicroStrategy, I don't think they're over leveraged, but we have to be really careful how they're using leverage, right? And when you say we, again, it's you as a shareholder, not we as Bitcoiners, right? None of this is about Bitcoin, but it's your usage of these products to get price exposure to Bitcoin. So if they take on, and leverage at this price point versus leverage in the future with future issuance of debt and future price points of Bitcoin can change drastically. So you take on, you're under levered now, but you issue, $42 billion in debt and Bitcoin crashes 80%, your leverage ratios change drastically.
Yep.
And if you're put in a situation where you have to then sell Bitcoin to protect your share price in a crash, and your shares are
David Bailey talks about, he was talking about that with the Nakamoto company, right?
Who was?
Sure. Well, in
David
some
Bailey,
ways,
he was saying we would sell Bitcoin.
so in some ways that's the argument with MicroStrategy, that like
Yeah.
you should want to sell Bitcoin if you feel that your shares are undervalued.
Almost like a stock buyback, right?
Yes, right.
It's like you can do a stock
yes.
buyback. Either you're selling shares or you're selling Bitcoin, depending on
100%. This is in
too
theory,
crazy.
though, right? And this is where
Yeah.
this is in an upward trajectory Bitcoin market, and your
Yeah.
shares happen to be going down in value for some weird reason.
Hmm.
But now you get in a situation where Bitcoin's going down in value. Your cost of debt per your total assets is going up, right? Because your debt is fixed, right? So if you owe 10% on, you know what I mean? If you issue billions in debt, 10 billion in debt, and on 20 billion in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's now worth 10 billion, your leverage ratio went from 50% levered to 1-to-1, right? And your debt, and if you don't have cash flow to service the debt, now you might have to sell Bitcoin, not to buy back your shares, but to service the debt. And then if you're dumping the Bitcoin to service your debt into a dumping market, now it's like a reflexive feedback loop. So
But
it's a
it
feedback
seems-
loop on the way up. It's going to be a feedback loop on the way down. These are weapons
is
of
it a-
mass destruction in a way.
Is it,
Yeah.
Is it a
Right?
quadratic? Is it a quadratic reflective wheel?
I don't
can we
know,
just throw the
Rusty.
word
I don't know what you're
quadratic in
doing
there?
down under.
Right.
But if you're also selling your own shares to buy Bitcoin, so you're basically issuing your own money
Mhm.
to buy the Bitcoin,
Yeah.
then doubling up with debt. And then if Bitcoin is crashing, you're in a tougher situation that I don't think we've seen a lot of companies live through. So we're all just pontificating on what something like that would be like, and these things can happen really quickly up and down.
I think that's what. Rusty, go ahead. Rusty has his hand up.
I was just gonna say, like, that's one thing about having a Bitcoin company is that when you're talking about volatility and having everything in Bitcoin, and then if you're a Bitcoin company, then all your customers are Bitcoiners, and so that not only does when the Bitcoin price go down that you suffer and maybe have to sell Bitcoin at a lower price, but all of your customers get poor, and then so that's like even more leverage on top of the downside with MicroStrategy.
Right. So it'd be nice to have an operating business that could service the debt.
Actually, the other thing.
That's. Oh.
Yeah, sorry, I'll just finish. The other thing that I saw in that interview that weird chick with the zebra shirt was talking about. She asked like, what happens if the MicroStrategy price goes down? And the interesting comment, the reply from Michael Saylor was, well, of course the equity holders will suffer. But Bitcoin could go to $6,000 a coin and stay there for 4 years, and we would be fine. But his point was the equity holders would suffer, like major suffering.
Number go
but
down.
they'll be fine. Number go down, but they'll be fine though. MicroStrategy will be fine.
MicroStrategy will be just fine.
I think Sailor's bet, and these other companies are trying to see if they can do it, but I don't know if they can. But I think Sailor's bet is essentially, no matter what the price of Bitcoin is, I will always be able to leverage the fiat markets to borrow more money to service the debt it's a speculative attack against the dollar. As much as he tries to say that's not, that's his big bet, is that he's saying no matter what happens to the price of Bitcoin, I will always be able to use this system. I will always figure out a way to use the fiat system to borrow more dollars to pay off my debts, and I'll never have to sell my Bitcoin. I think that's what his bet
Watch
is.
the interview with Lutnick and Palm, and they talk about the structure of what they're doing with Cannon Fitzgerald in the lending. And Palm mentions, like, through wicked volatility down, like, you'll scoop up all that Bitcoin, all the over-leveraged Bitcoin. I mean, we're swimming with sharks now. Again, we is not you and me. It's not Bitcoiners.
So I don't
right?
have
But
to listen to Pomp.
It's
Could you tell me?
shareholders of Wall Street. right? Wall Street is sharks, right? You want to go play in their pond with all these securities and products. Like you're swimming with sharks, and now the government is with stable coins and treasuries backing stable coins, and they need the rails of stable coins to pump hard so that they can issue treasuries, and they need Bitcoin to give all that some wind at their sails. Like, I think you just really be careful how these things are sold to you, what you put your money into. Right? I mean, like you're not buying Bitcoin. Let's just be honest. It's great price exposure. Maybe it makes the wife happy. Maybe you can't lose your keys. But if this is, if this is your first exposure to Bitcoin and your life raft, like I think you're misusing Bitcoin.
All right. Said we got to switch gears real quick.
Make it more fun, maybe.
Yeah, it is time to bring on Rope with the meme review for the week. And as we're going through this, from time to time, Rope is going to ask for suggestions for how to rate these. Hopefully we'll go through a few so you can see how the ratings are looking before you get a suggestion out of you for some ratings. Sound good?
All right, we were all rating?
Everybody can chip in.
What's the scale?
It's a made-up scale.
It's
you make the rating whatever you want it to be. So, if Rope is still here. Yeah, there he is. All right. Also, feel free to draw things on the screen as he's presenting. He loves that.
I love it. Love it. All right. Y'all know what time it is. It is meme review time. We're going to get it started with a terrible meme that me and Greg Zodge cooked up the other day in the Signal chat. But this is not actually a meme. This is actually a reputable source. Like I just said, Greg Zodge, he never tells a lie. And we caught... what is this? We've caught Yellow getting kicked out of the Red Bull HQ for pitching a chocolate milk flavored Red Bull. So recent scrubbing of Google Street View data also shows that puppet ICO offender 2 outside of the at Red Bull corporate offices after allegedly pitching a chocolate milk flavored Red Bull. Criminally underliked. I thought this was hilarious.
AI.
Yellow,
score, very real meme. Very real picture.
Very real. Not a meme.
I'm not gonna lie.
Actual
I
photo.
did not see where this chocolate milk thing came from. I just started seeing everyone talking about chocolate milk, and I feel like I need to be filled in. Can someone fill me in?
The whole thing is that Yellow is filling himself with chocolate milk on a regular basis.
It's a fat campaign from these guys here because I'm really close on having my Red Bull sponsorship. They want to derail it.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not.
Okay.
No, he's not. That is the lie right there. All right, moving along. All right, we've got at Bruce Fenton, early trading explained. We've got a meme here. Trader, me have good rock, you have fur. We trade. Caveman. Me like trade, but first, please complete these forms. Trade no work without politicians having AML/KYC data. This is him trolling the KYC requirements, AML for Coinbase, and how they got their customer data leak. Did we talk about that? The Coinbase thing? Is that I kind of tuned out about?
No, we haven't talked about it.
I was measuring stuff. Yeah, well, yeah, I think most of you know what's going on with that. Somebody got a gun pointed to their head, and they had to give up all their info, or they just got bribed. Some say it was Yellow, some say it was Greg. We'll never know.
They just provided proof of data. That's all that was. Yeah.
Proof of data.
Rope's just throwing rocks at everybody.
Thank you. Proof of data.
There we go.
That's not bad. That's good. Thank you, Cedric. All right, moving along here. We've got at RD_BTC. You may have heard of him. Quote, the caption is "Get out of here, dummies!" with a middle finger at FT. What is FT? What is that? Financial Times? Yes, it is. All right. We've got the classic goose meme here. But are your teeth a good store of value? Are they divisible? Are they durable? Are they fungible? Are they verifiable, bitch? And then the FT guy's running away. Do you even know what makes a good money? I missed the whole thing. I just kind of like caught in late. Apparently, somebody over at RD, can you fill us in on what happened with the teeth thing?
It's the zebra shirt woman I was talking about earlier.
Is RD here? He's gone.
He
He's
was.
gone.
I think he's asleep.
on.
God, cute. All
Can't
right.
stand your
Well,
point.
Seth, are you familiar with
It's-
this? Didn't some woman say at Financial Times say like my teeth are scarce? Why aren't they valuable? Something like along those lines.
Yeah, Bitcoin they say is scarce, so are my teeth, but they're not valuable. They're not worth billions.
Yeah,
Something like that. It was
in the bucks.
How would
She
you
was
score
talking
that?
about
How would you
scarce-
score that,
she was
Cedric?
talking about scarcity. She was talking about scarcity, and Bitcoin has scarcity, but scarcity is not everything. Yeah.
I mean,
And
sounds
then
like
off we go.
she's clearly had her wisdom teeth pulled.
She lost a trading competition.
Thank you, Greg.
She came fifth last out of 1,500 people at Financial Times because she decided to short MicroStrategy in the trading competition.
Yeah.
And so she's now pretty pissed off so she did a big hit piece. That's the rundown.
Is that good? Wisdom teeth equal pulled.jpg _gif. We
Yeah.
good with that?
Yeah,
Is
3 or
that
4
right?
people will get it.
All right, yep, that's good. That's all
He was
that's all
also
we can
dressed
hope
like the hamburger burglar for some reason.
for. Okay. Thank you, y'all. Thank you. All right, we've got next one at Corey Bates, 1895. Caption: My teeth are scarce, but they are not worth billions of dollars, quote unquote, equal. And this was from the Financial Times. Apparently, we've got a Wojak Blenderhead with his brain in the blender, retarded. FT Financial Times. My teeth are scarce. Why Bitcoin so special? This meme got passed around worse than Yellow did at the having party, but we just decided to use the Corey Bates version there. 4.1 thousand likes. That's pretty good.
Wow.
Pretty dang
Not
good.
not one of them yours.
No, not
Proof
one
of
of mine. Score. What was it?
proof of teeth.
Proof of teeth.
Proof of teeth.
All right, moving along. We've got a next one here. This one got criminally underliked, but I really related to it, so I put it in there. This is at Hyperidge Hodl. This is a friend of mine. He makes good memes. Me observing technical Bitcoin debate, and we've got the
Sometimes.
brain dead Biden here, just
Brain
looking
dead
all
Biden.
confused. Doesn't know what's going on there. That's I like this meme. Criminally underliked here. Brain. We are.
You're
all-
10% of the likes.
Hell yeah.
Brain dead Brandon.
We are all okay. We'll go with that. Brain dead Brandon. There we go. Boom. Moving along here, we've got at Mars Meat Bars. Some of you might have heard of him. We've got a
I didn't see
TM. We need to
this.
get a TM. We need to get a TM guy on the meme review here. So I also related to this one pretty well. We've
Dude,
got
this is what I'm talking about, Greg.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
I
this is what I'm
relate.
saying, man. Like this is like practically a civil war.
I know.
Yeah.
And the future of Bitcoin is like people are like, nah, man, nothing matters. It's all good.
Yeah.
Not only
Yeah.
does it not matter,
I'm
he's
rich
got
now.
a ledger.
I bought some
Caption-
EFT, bro.
He's got
I
a
got
ledger.
the IBIT. That guy's got
Yeah,
IBIT, man. That number
Yeah,
go up
yeah.
max.
Yeah.
He don't even
So
got
we've
real
got the-
Bitcoin.
Yeah, they don't even care about Bitcoin.
Yeah. So
He's
we've
got
got
a
the
fucking
Nazi core
ledger.
people fighting here on the left, and we've got the number go up Maxi on the right, smoking a bowl with a ledger or something. His caption is "Yeah, I don't care," and that's pretty much it. That's the three factions of Bitcoiners right now, or the three largest factions: Knots, Core, number go up Maxis. I like this one.
Dude, do
beautiful
people
detail.
realize that like Core is run by one company,
Enlighten us.
like Chain Code Labs?
Yeah,
Like
take
half
one.
of Core works at Chain Code Labs. And nobody knows who Chain Code Labs is. Just reckon with that.
Yeah, but
Or
that's something
get-
that always
And this
was
this
the
number
thing,
go up
right?
Maxi
Like,
as a ledger, so he has like
it used
$50
to
in
be
Bitcoin.
Blockster. It used to be Blockster
Left.
like 6 years ago.
Wait, Score. I'm 6 feet from
The edge.
the ledge.
Ledger.
Edge.
I'm hilarious. I am hilarious.
That
I
was
don't care
good.
what anyone
That
else
was
says.
good.
Pretty good. That's pretty good, bro.
All right, we got
I like that.
at Rothmus here. He probably stole this meme from someone, but I thought
Probably.
it was funny. When you're gaming online and your Ukraine
Oh,
friend
shit.
loses
Oh, jeez.
connection.
Oh my gosh.
It's not even Bitcoin related. How do
It's not, but I
Put that
thought it
in
was
there.
hilarious. What a dumb boss.
This
Moving
was all a
along.
setup just
All
to
right.
use that score. That's all that was.
It was exactly was. I got a couple more of those like that coming. Hold on to your
Good,
hats.
good.
Next one here, we've got at ICO Offender 2. I don't know this guy, but apparently he's a big deal on Twitter. Oh wait, he's here on the stream here. Yellow, can you walk us through this one? Because I thought you cooked here, but I wasn't quite sure how to. You would explain it better than me.
Okay,
Obviously, I'm an
so
idiot.
it's a guy sitting in coffee, and outside
He's doing what in the
they're,
coffee?
drinking
Sitting on coffee.
coffee
Gotcha. I got you.
cup.
I got you.
I thought it was
And
something
outside you can see like people running nuts and core, right? Everyone is out there visible. And then he finds glasses that says nuts, and he puts the nuts view on, and he cannot see the ordinals guys, the spam, right? But doesn't mean that the spam isn't still there. No, it just
This is a big brain meme right here. Big brain meme. Fuck you, Yellow. All right, moving along. We've got at the Babylon Bee. This is not Bitcoin related, but it was hilarious. Jesus' parents realize he's divine as he completes carpentry project without going back to Home Depot a single time.
That's the real
Once
test.
again, I've already got the score here. That's why they call him Jesus. Wait, I can't do it on my computer here. Fuck, I don't know how to do the little asterisk there. I use an English keyboard.
Oh, you can't make it sound Spanish with your keyboard? Is that what you're saying?
No,
you hold that.
I could, but we're running
down.
up against the clock here. We got to get this knocked out, okay? All right, moving along. At 191480, Justin Belcher. Caption here, what do you want, Barber? What do you want? And then his response, I want everyone at the conference to know that I support spam on Bitcoin. And then the Barber, say no more. We've got the picture of the clearly liberal pink bowl cut. She's probably British just from the looks of her. Yeah, good meme right here. Good meme here.
Mate.
Good meme.
Oh my God, look at the Lysander written below it.
Yeah, Lysanders is added.
Oh my God, that's even better.
They're making fun of what is
Shinobi.
it? What's the guy? Yeah. I'm gonna like and retweet this too. Yeah. Oi, mate.
Yo, drop that in the chat. I need to follow Lysander.
Shinobi, by the way, just got destroyed by safety in a reply.
Oi, mate, in it, bruv. Got meme. All right, moving along here. Last and finally, the meme of the week here, in my opinion, of course, it's at Otherberry BTC breaking.
God damn it!
At ICO Offender 2, accused of being the coin-based extortionist, needing the funds to fuel his chalky milk addiction. Yellow, what do you have to say for yourself here?
That's not true. It's AI. Okay, it's false. It's like
clearly looks real.
Fuck off.
That looks very real.
I don't know. I can see all your fingers clearly. That doesn't look like AI to me.
Look at all those cigarettes on the ground too. You're definitely smoking a lot.
Yeah.
I have to say, AI is doing a much better job at generating yellow these days. It used to suck, and now it's doing a much better job.
I worked very hard
Nice.
to get it where it is.
That's it for the meme review, everybody. See you next week. Thanks for tagging along.
Thank you, Rope.
Thanks, Rope. We need a jingle for that.
We're gonna get there, man. I'm about to expand my whole computer setup, and I'm gonna soup it up, and we're gonna have a soundboard. I'm gonna take control over of the streaming because Greg doesn't know how to do anything except use Zoom. But we're gonna get it figured out.
And OBS.
You see how they treat me, Cedric, right? Like I give in this group, and all I just did was like,
just mute
yeah.
Mute him.
Every time I think I'm out, they just
Muted himself. All right, so said you have a lot, and you have a lot of really interesting guests that come on your pod, and I'm impressed by the gets that you get. What of your recent ones would you consider to be the most interesting message you've gotten?
Oh, of the recent ones. Oh, wow. Wow, look. I mean, I don't know. I really enjoyed the recent like last 6 or 7, to be honest. And
You've
they're
been
all
on a roll.
different. But I think I'm just really trying to think about where the conversation is in 2025. And I think we touched about it a lot at the beginning of the show. It seems like it's not about Bitcoin at all to me in 2025. It seems it's all about Bitcoin treasury companies. And so I think it's what people are not talking about that's kind of sticking out to me right now. You know, I don't know, but over the last, I mean, I really enjoyed the fourth turning panel with Column and Lepard and Hodl and Quittem. That was fun for me personally. I mean, it did devolve a little bit at the end with sort of like everyone trying to get Dave to buy Bitcoin. I was really hoping we'd get through the whole thing without them each giving the spiel. What was really interesting is Dave called me up after that, like
really?
3 hours. Yeah, this was weird, and he just talked to me for like an hour. First 20 minutes were kind of about the panel, and then like we just talked, and like it was interesting just building these connections with people now sort of off screen. You know, I think the Josh Mandel thing's been the most interesting thing to me in the spring. I thought that experience, it was a really weird thing, his call for 84K, and it was for me a very like communal experience, social consensus. It was very Bitcoiny for me. It kind of brought us all together in a weird way. Of course, as a holder, I didn't want price to go down, but I was kind of like in those final moments rooting for the magic of it to happen and the shared experience. And then just the kind of conversation that's come out of that. I think in the beginning, it was a lot of sort of like fanboyishness and sort of like stuff about Josh's call, but I've developed a relationship with Josh offline, and it's like, and I've been just trying to follow like maybe the year and a half of little breadcrumbs he's laid down and what I think he's trying to do with this moment, you know. And I think I guess Jeff Booth, right? So what was the most interesting moment? Jeff usually says, hey, Bitcoin can fail, but I don't think it will. And on my show, and I think it was one of the first times he didn't add the I don't think it will. He just said Bitcoin can fail, and here's what we could do to prevent it from failing. But again, I think that there are some serious thinkers really thinking about the long-term consequences of the actions, and because Bitcoin is what we make of it, right? Like Bitcoin is not something in the fucking up in the hillside hiding out there as a monster. It's us and the choices we make. And this is a whole new thing, right? Like we're only 16 years in. It's not a very long track record for humanity. We don't know where it's going. Think about the internet 15, 16 years in when it was still a DARPA project, you know, and that's something I've been thinking a lot about is Satoshi, you know, and how unrealistic of a story the whole thing is. I mean, here we are as Bitcoiners, don't trust, verify. And we're like, oh yeah, there's some guy in the 21st century who invented digital money and then just disappeared. And the government has absolutely no idea where he is or what happened to him. And that's just impossible in my mind to ever be replicated, but probably even pulled off in the first place. So I'm wondering, how gullible am I? You know, and I love that story. And it's a big part of the formation and immaculate conception of Bitcoin. But is it truly believable? Or do I just want to believe it, you know? And does it matter? So I don't know if that answers your question, but some of the things I'm thinking about.
I think you did a great job leaving everybody who's watching or listening to us tonight, giving them something to think about. But in the meantime, if anybody wants to think deeply about subjects that touch on Bitcoin, I'd recommend they hop over onto the Bitcoin Matrix podcast and give Cedric's stuff a listen. Ced, can you tell everybody where to find you?
On the internet, look up the Bitcoin Matrix. You can find me on Twitter at Ced Youngelman or _ Bitcoin Matrix. We're on all podcast platforms on YouTube, and we're on Rumble. Come check us out. Sometimes we have fun conversations too. So
certainly do. All right. Well, thank you, Ced. Thanks everybody else for coming and joining us. I know Yella's got a lot of chocolate milk to get to. And have a great night,
Good
everybody.
luck with that sponsorship. Fucking cool.
you guys sticking around? Are we dropping off?
Yeah, we'll stick around for a minute. Good night, everybody.